from Ralphsflybox. Today we're actually going to tie a tandem rig. This is probably the best producing tandem rig for me this winter and late fall. It's a variation of the steak and eggs. We're going to tie at a size 16 McFly foam blood dot egg with shrimp ice dub, which is has been the change in that pattern for me, and has improved the pattern a little bit, fish catching wise for me. And we'll be using apricot for the main egg and steelhead orange for the blood dot. The second fly will be a skittle. It'll be a larger skittle tied with gold wire. Usually I stick with red, orange, or green. That's how the skittle got its name. But the gold skittle with the egg seemed to, I don't know if the skittle brought the fish to the egg more than not, but it was a very, very productive tandem pattern rig for me, and we'll see if we can tie them both. I'm going to start out with a size 16 caddis emerger and 70 denier fluorescent orange UTC. And we're going to start our thread behind the eye, and we're going to go to the midway point. And then I like to build it up just a little bit. Make sure I cover the hook, and I give a little bit of thread for the yarn to grab. We're going to bring our thread to the middle of that, about the 1/3 portion. And we're going to take our 4 1-inch sections, equal sections of yarn. This is the apricot. One on either side in the bottom, one on either side on top. And then we're going to put our steelhead orange piece on the top of that. And we're going to grip that together. Put a loose wrap around. Make sure we get that situated the way we want it. And stay wrap on top of wrap. And then going to give about a half dozen wraps in the middle. We're going to pull everything forward. And I'm going to give 3 wraps in the back. Bring it back. Bring everything forward from the front. Make sure we don't cover the eye of our hook. And we're going to give about a dozen wraps in the front. And that'll help lock that in place. Then before we do any cutting, we're going to use shrimp. It's actually more of an orange. They call it a pink, but to me it's more of an orange dubbing, but it's the shrimp ice dubbing. And we're going to put about 1 inch of that on our thread. Not a whole bunch, because you don't want it to take over the pattern. We're going to put that dubbing on the front. We're going to build a little bit of a head there, and then bring the thread to the front. And we'd finish. What I get for hurrying. Give it finish. Clip our thread, and you're going to grasp your yarn. Get it evenly on each side. I'm going to pull it up fairly tight, and about 1/4 inch up, cut it. It should wrap just about all the way around. And you can trim that if you want. Sometimes I'll end up with a little bit of a tag down the bottom here, and I'll trim that off and just do a little bit of pruning and shaping. But we're not going to spend too much time on that because there's really no need. When it gets in the water, it moves around. What happens is this yarn moves around a little bit, it exposes that little bit of glitter with the shrimp orange or the shrimp pink, whichever one you want to call it, ice dub. And it has enhanced this fly for me considerably. And now we'll move on to the skittle. Very simple pattern, the egg. The skittle, we're going to have a size 10 caddis merger or a merger hook or scud hook, however you want it, and a gold tungsten bead. And we're going to start off with lead wire or lead substitute wire. I'm going to start right about above the point of the hook. Wrap all the way to the bead. This is a heavy fly. I like to use this fly because I enjoy using this more than I do split shot. Hangs up less and catches fish. And we're going to seat that up tight against the bead. Then we're going to start our olive dun thread, and we're going to bind that lead in place. And then work our thread back to a point that's about, leaves your thread, if you brought it to the tip, about a 45-degree angle from the tip of the hook. That may vary a little bit with different brands of hooks, scud hooks and whatnot, but it's going to be pretty close. I'm going to bring it up to behind the lead. The first material you're going to tie in for the skittle is your wire. Tie it on the side of the hook. Bring your thread back to that end point and back up to the front. Next material you're going to tie in is 2 or 3. I've got 2 here. 2 or 3 peacock herls. I line the tips up and then I cut the first ½ inch off. I don't trust them. Never have. And we're going to tie that in the back of the lead again. Bring our thread back to the end point and then forward again. Next material you're going to tie in is a size 14. For this pattern, instead of furnace, I use grizzly for the gold skittle. It's a size 14 dry fly hackle. You don't even have to trim the tip, just tie the tip in. I leave about a 1/4 of an inch sticking out. I tie that in behind. You can tie it in wet fly or dry fly fashion. It really doesn't matter because you're going to spin it. And then cut our tips off. At this point, you're going to bring your thread to behind the bead. Next thing you're going to do is grab your hackle, just sweep the fibers. Don't lose too much sleep over this because they'll sweep back on their own as well. Then you're going to bring your wire and your 2 peacock herls together. Now if you have a spinning tool, that's fine. I use my hackle pliers and a shepherd's hook. And you're going to spin these materials into a rope. Don't lose too much sleep over how tight you make it. You'll see as you twist the rope, the hackle fibers will start to stand out about a 45-degree angle. That's what you want. I'm going to trim this wire to get it out of the way for the video. And then you're going to wrap it forward. You're not going to build this up. It's just one in front of the other. You'll see the hackle fibers begin to stand up. If you start to try and pack this and taper the body, the gold wire won't show as much, you'll bury it. So it's just one in front of the other. Nice level body. And when I get up to the bead, I like to take an extra turn. Make sure it's all the way up in a tight collar. And that's where you're going to tie off. A few wraps to lock it in place behind the bead. And trim it off. And I'll sweep back if I can, if there's fibers that are grabbable. Build the collar. Not too big. I very seldom prune any flyers around the bead with this pattern. I want it to be spiky. If they're plain real obvious, I'll grab them, but I won't waste a lot of time on it. And there's the gold skittle. I said I usually use furnace hackle when I'm tying it with colors, green, yellow, red, and orange. When I tie the gold, I use grizzly. This pattern, fished in tandem with the McFly foam egg, along with the ice dub collar, is my best producing tandem, especially in the late fall when the bigger fish are stacked up, the deeper holes. I dredge with this. It's very effective. Give it a try. You can change colors if you want. I've only tied this egg with these colors using the ice dub, but if it does anything for you as much as it has for me, you'll be very pleased. Good luck. See you on the water.